Hey, look at it. Look at it. Look at what we got. Look at this guy.
I can't look at anything. I can't see you.
That's true.
Well, I can. I see a delay in the Twitch.
I was going to say that
that's about it.
the stream is about, I think, like 6 seconds behind. So you should be able to now. Look at us. Look at us here, shining and dining and whining. It is the Talk Tuesday here on the Experience Point. It's Josh Koval. Still loading podcast. Still loading. One of these days it'll load.
And stop. No, it'll never stop loading. It will always still be loading.
Even when we have, like, PS6 that has 0% load times. Like, PS5 is getting pretty close. Once load times are a thing of the past, people will be like, what is that? What is that a reference to? I don't...
Oh, God, you're right. At some point, loading bars are going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, we have had, like, a lot... we've had quite a few things in the technology sphere become obsolete, and yet we still... Like, the save icon is still a floppy disk.
Yep, that's true.
So I think it'll still be somewhat relevant, which is wild to me. Or, like, I love the videos where it's, like, asking your... Like, it'll be somebody, like, asking their wife, and then they're, like, their Gen Z child, like, okay, how do you hang up a phone? And the millennial wife is always like, oh, like this, and you hang it up.
And the Gen Zer is always like...
They just push the button.
Yeah,
it's just... I'm like, oh, God, I'm old.
Nah, just times change, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Well, first order of business, I think we need to talk about Nintendo really has to focus on renaming a few of their characters because Diddy and Luigi are trending for not, well, one for horrible reasons and one, in my opinion, great reasons. But that's just me. Yeah. How about all this nonsense?
I got no opinions on it. It's just meme stuff at this point. Listen, the Diddy thing, obviously, the Luigi thing. I don't know. I don't condone violence, but at the same time, I don't have any remorse whatsoever. So
I condone violence against people whose job it is to condone violence against other people.
I'm being anyway. I genuinely don't have I don't know. I'm not. I don't miss the guy. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple as that.
It's I don't know anyone personally who has died because of healthcare denials. However,
that guy has denied so many healthcare things. Even if someone didn't die from it, he's made their quality of life significantly worse.
Yes. I do, however, know someone whose mother this year died because she couldn't get insulin because of the prices skyrocketing, or this being covered, not being covered. So
yeah,
it's not even like this is adjacent to me, and I'm like, don't care. Gunshot wounds are a pre-existing condition, my man. What's up, Gilmer? That's what I said. Like, oh my God, it's like we were talking briefly off air about how it feels we're so divided. I don't think we've been this unified in a very long time. Like both sides of our very divided aisle right now are like basically reaching over each other to be like, hell yeah, they doing the like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, like, you son of a bitch, like Predator handshake.
I mean, even Ben Shapiro's like own comment, like fans, there's backlash on one of his videos because like they're like, the left wants violence. And all of his commenters are like, dude, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, everyone's in agreement on this one.
Right. Yeah.
Ben Shapiro's fans.
Right. I know. That had to sink in for a second time. I don't think we've been this unified since Harambe died, or since they killed Harambe.
No, actually, the last time we were all unified was I actually remember this. It was in 2020. When GameStop became a meme stock.
Oh my God.
And Robinhood, the trader app, the stock trader app, put a a freeze on all trading for GameStop related stock
Yup.
because because investors were losing too much money or because they were shorting the stock. And everyone was like, both people on all sides of that was like, what the fuck? That's like illegal. You can't do that. What about a free open market
Right.
type of shit?
It's all a sham. If you have
Yep,
money, you
so-
control it all. That's why people like Luigi are okay in my book. Not that I'm like, it's not like a video game where it's like, yeah, you off this guy and then we just get to collect his loot. Like, it's not like all those billions of dollars, went anywhere now. But they are like walking back. Like, there was, I forget which company it was, put out some like time limit on anesthesia to save money during procedures when it's like anesthesia, like you may need it for 15 minutes, you may need it for like 6 hours for like a quadruple bypass heart surgery. So putting an arbitrary time limit on it, it was just bullshit. And people are going to die because they can't afford to get the surgery now because they're going to be cut off, or it's going to incentivize doctors to work faster and make more mistakes, which is going to kill them. Like, all to save a buck, and they've walked that back apparently since this happened.
The only thing I have an issue with right now is the glorification of it. Like, it, unfortunately, I am under the opinion kind of with you, like, I'm kind of happy it happened, but I don't like that. The thing is that we should be mad at the fact that it's come to this is sad to me, not something to glorify. Like, the fact, like, people are praising the violence. I'm not saying, like, I'm happy it happened, as weird as that is. I feel like I'm kind of talking on both sides of my mouth with it a little bit, but it just, I don't know, it just kind of, it feels scummy to me in some way, but at the same time, fuck that guy. So like, I'm conflicted with it. Like, I'm happy it happened, I'm happy the guy's gone, but at the same time, I don't like the glorification of it.
I can understand that. I think you can hold space for both. I think you can say it's sad that it got to this point, and like, it never should have, sure. But I think this was inevitable, and
it absolutely was. I mean, look at shit like the French Revolution,
right? I mean, this is
eventually, like, you're gonna if you press on the common man long enough, they're going to fight back, and there's more of them than you.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
it like, it just, and you know what? It like, if this happens, like, I saw a funny meme, like, I've been watching The Sopranos, right?
Yeah, they whacked this guy. I'm gonna send Luigi to whack this CEO.
Well, I forget what it was. There's a scene from it where basically Tony's pissed off about how, like, he was defending like a fellow mobster. He's like, that guy took action against corrupt police, and he's a hero in this house, or some shit like that. And so I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact context of it, but someone took that same speech and reworked it, where he goes, he took action against private health insurance corporations is what he did. He was a brave Italian martyr. In this house, Luigi Mangione is a hero. End of story.
Yes.
And it made me laugh pretty hard.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I'm not mad. That's like I said. I'm conflicted. I don't like the glorification. I don't like how it's almost turned into this mob mentality, but at the same time, I don't blame anyone for getting to that point. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes me uncomfortable because that just feels like that's just one step over the line for me.
Gotcha.
Like, that's a step over the line. That's too far. But unfortunately, the corporations kind of did it first. So
right.
I'm not like, this isn't a hill I'm willing to die on. This is just like me expressing my discomfort, but I'm also not going to be like, if I saw, I mean, I know the dudes, if this guy is the guy and he potentially was caught, if I saw him at a McDonald's, I would be like, I'm going to look the other way.
Yeah, I'd be like, Big Mac on me. What's wild about, like, it's so funny watching conservative news outlets even like trying so hard to like find reasons like to paint him as like this unhinged, like, psychopath. But it's like, first of all, he used a gun, which you guys love. Like, and second of all, they're trying to be like, oh, it's video games. Like, he played a violent. It was fucking Among Us. They were like, he played a video game with his friends where you had to be a killer and hide in plain sight. And, it was like fucking Among Us. I was like, I would maybe 1% understand, like, oh, Assassin's Creed? Maybe? Sure. Fucking Among Us. A known murder
it's
game.
wild.
Yeah. But he's like
Known
also
murder.
he's like an Ivy League grad. He's like his manifesto or whatever that's coming out is like super like well written, and like he's up on like a lot of like philosophy. Like he's a learned, a very attractive young man, like successful young man, and like if somebody like him who's essentially like the best of society
Is fed up with this
Is-
shit. Like, what does it say for everyone else?
right, yeah, so it's like he is a hero in this house for me. But I mean, you know, it is also not a hill that I'm willing to die on. Like, not glorifying the act of the violence itself, but glorifying the aftermath and it needed to happen, and it was going to happen. If you hoard wealth like a goddamn dragon, a medieval dragon, do you think that it's not going to enrage the local villagers who you depend on, you know, for this wealth and the work? And I don't know. It as we say in our well, we don't do a lot of protesting anymore, but we used to do a lot. And a common rally cry that we would hear a lot is, it's a rich man's game and they play to win, but there's more of us than there are of them. I would drop the mic if I could, but I'm going to let go of it, and it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. I don't really want to talk about it anymore. I just, not to like be awkward with it. I don't know. Just not a fan of this topic right now.
Oh, that's fair. We don't normally, we usually talk about the serious stuff off mic first.
I don't mind talking about serious stuff on mic. It's just I can tell you about more later.
Copy. Well, I know you had some stories. You were texting me. You were like, "Oh my god, I got some stories for Talk Tuesday." So, if you would like to add in some brevity, I'm sure.
I mean, it's so.
Or levity.
First off, this wasn't the story I was going to tell you, but I thought you would appreciate this. So I'm going to be playing Outer Wilds on my stream later tonight. Have you ever played Outer Wilds?
No, but you've told me about it, and I remember you saying, "Play it and don't look up anything about it, and go in as blind as you can."
So I got the collector's edition on the PS4 a little while ago. Check out these cool little pins,
Hey, I love those.
like little space. Levi D's
nuts.
Now the other thing is that what came with it was
nuts. I get it.
So there's lots of different planets you go to in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think any of this is spoilers. It'll just maybe intrigue you a little bit more to play it.
Yeah.
These are postcards, like fake postcards from the game. And this one is for the Hourglass Twins. Look at the artwork on that.
Ooh. Oh, I love stuff like this. I've seen people do these with like planets from Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rad.
Brittle Hollow.
Ooh. I like these
Right,
names.
I don't know how clear it is for you. Is that pretty clear?
It's pretty
Are you
clear,
able
yeah.
to see it? All right, because it looks blurry on mine, but I have a shitty camera too.
Dark Bramble. Ooh, that's badass.
Yeah. Right? Look at like that thing too. Like what could that be?
I don't
You'll
know.
have to
You have to
play
find
and
out.
find out. Giants Deep. I think you'll like this one.
Whoa, are those tornadoes?
Yeah.
That's dope.
You'll have to see what that is all about. And then the planet you start off on, Timberhearth.
Oh, I like that. Wow, the
Yeah.
like little sunset or sunrise.
I thought the graphic designer in you would appreciate that,
Very much so.
I wanted to share that. Yeah, I think you would like Outer Wild. It's a very zen type of game, but in like a dark way. Like when you die in that game, you like it's brutal.
Wow.
Like there's a moment where I was in a cave that was filling up with sand, and you have to get out, but I got lost in the cave, so I got slowly crushed to death.
No.
And you literally are like, the sand is going up, and you can see like you're not moving anymore, and all of a sudden the visor starts to crack, and you go, "Oh, come on!" And then you hear like a crunching sound, and it fades to black. There's if you like die in outer space, kind of same vibes. Like it's really kind of like you suddenly start gasping and you can't breathe. It's brutal. There's some brutal shit, but
Damn.
then there's also all these moments of like. There's just so many like beautiful moments like in this game. Like there's just it's got one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. It's so cool. So yeah, I wanted to show you that. I'm excited to replay it for my guest spot on a friend's podcast.
Yeah.
I've already beaten it before, but just more as a refresher. Now I have not played the DLC, which I should ask him if I need to play the DLC. I'm hoping not because I don't want to spend the money.
Oh, gotcha. There's not like a complete edition out, or
not that I mean I already have I already have a digital copy on Xbox One and now a physical copy on PS4. So I actually figured out I was able to get my capture card to work tonight.
Nice.
So I tested it out and it was on for a long while and it stayed on. So I'm hoping that it is like a continuous thing.
Was the issue that it was just shutting off after a while?
I don't know, actually. The only thing I can think of is that I had an HDMI cord for like a high data transfer, and maybe it wasn't compatible with it because it's an older capture card. The only thing I can think of that was causing like weird issues with like the video signal for it.
Yeah. I was playing last Friday. I did a little fighting game Friday I was just like, I'm gonna just mess around. I was kind of low energy, and I was like, I'm just gonna mess around in the first Smash Brothers on N64. And I forgot that my N64 has been kind of on the fritz and has been kind of resetting. And so it was working fine, and I had forgotten about the issue, and I landed like a super solid Falcon punch. And right when I hit that, it was like, Falcon punch! And it just cut out. And I was just like left there, like staring at the blue screen. Like, I was like, I punched him.
You just destroyed your own TV.
But then it wouldn't, like, well, it was the 64 itself, and I'd turn it off and on again, and I would, like, you know, do the whole blowing into it, which you aren't supposed to do, but I do anyway because it works. And it wouldn't come back on, and I was like, oh my god, I Falcon punched my N64 out of existence.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? So I have to look into either getting it repaired or just getting a new one. That's so funny though. I'm glad to hear that it's working because I know you have a lot of Mario games to beat. Segue. Please take this.
I beat Paper Mario last night. Now the thing I want, you know, all right, I'll start with Paper Mario, then I'll tell you the thing that happened over the weekend. Yeah, I beat Paper Mario for the first time. First time I ever played it. My first playthrough of it. It was awesome. Like, it was such a wonderful experience. And sorry, I'm just oh, nice. My remember I told you about you're a fan of the Stalker games, right?
Yes.
I got contacted by that book publishing company.
Right.
Oh, they just sent me the shipping notification for it, and yeah, I'm getting a free copy of the book.
Roadside Picnic.
Yep, the Roadside Picnic. So getting a free copy of that. Nice. So anyway, I just got a shipment email notification. That's why I wanted to. Nice. I saw that.
I want to play Stalker 2 so bad.
I need to play the first one.
Oh my god.
Do I own it? Actually, you know what? Let me check my Steam account. I might own it.
They go on sale a lot.
Yeah, I figured as much. So yeah, Paper Mario. It was just I didn't know what to expect out of it. Okay, I have Stalker, Call of Pripyat, and Shadow of Chernobyl. Which is the first one?
Pripyat
or Chernobyl? I think Chernobyl.
Shadow of Chernobyl is the first one. The second one is Call of Pripyat, and then the third one, which is a prequel, is Clear Sky, which was my favorite.
Okay.
But I believe they all follow a different main character, so you can kind of play them in any order.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I played through back to Paper Mario. What we're here to talk about.
Very tangentially related, though. The Stalker games and the Paper Mario games, they're basically the same game. Like they're hardly distinguishable to me.
Both in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
No, but Paper Mario. Have you ever played the first Paper Mario?
I've never touched any of that series. It's been one of the largest gaps for me. I always hear that they're great, especially Thousand Year Door.
So what's interesting about them, at least from my experience with it, just the first game so far, is that I've never seen a game marry platforming elements and RPG elements so perfectly.
Huh.
So you know how like a lot of action games will have this is an action like an open world adventure game with RPG elements.
Yeah.
Horizon on Ghost of Tsushima, hell, even The Last of Us kind of has like I think maybe not Last of Us. That's just well, they don't have skill trees in that, but you also sort of you have like all your different. You do kind of anyway.
You upgrade like your tools.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. This is like an RPG game with platforming elements.
Okay.
And that's what I kind of came to realize after because like all of your attacks are timing based in some way, shape, or form. So like when Mario jumps on top of an enemy's head, you have to time it. So when you select command to do the jump, and then you hit the A button again right at the apex, or like right before you're about to hit, and it does double damage. So you'll hit you'll do as you level up, you get more and more. You can deal more damage. Or actually, sorry, not as you level up. As you get different items, you can deal more damage. So by the end of the game, every time I stomped on an enemy's head, unless they had some type of shield, I would do 4 damage. And if I timed the attack right, I would do another 4 damage.
Nice.
Then it's the same with if you have the mallet, the hammer, you can just go up and swing, but you have to hold left on the joystick and it'll wind it up, and you have to time it right and release the joystick when the star meter goes all the way up to the top and it's a bright red star, like bright red ball star, and you hit them. And a lot of your attacks, and not just your attacks, but other characters' attacks are based off of very physical actions, not just hitting confirm and an attack.
Yeah.
Like there's some there's a character named Bo who's a boo.
Yes.
Bo.
I was watching.
And she like bitch slaps the shit out of people.
Yeah, double slap.
You have to rock the joystick to the left, back between the middle and the left over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so it's a very like hands-on physical interaction that you're playing with. And it's really interesting. And then all the boss fight mechanics are super different and like Bowser was the least interesting one.
Huh.
There was some where like there was one guy where he had like this light source, and you had to attack the light source first in order to make the room bright enough so that way he would do less damage and stuff like that. It was all really interesting. Just really impressed by that. Also, it was super funny. I posted on Blue Sky. I can't actually get to my file explorer right now because I had it's a long story, but actually, you know what? I downloaded all the pictures on my phone, so I wasn't going to share them anyway on screen. I was just going to read off some of the quotes from the game. We have, where are you at? There's towards the end of the game, everyone's making wish, kind of very DBZ-esque of like giving the power to Mario type of thing.
Okay.
And he goes, I want to eat shroom. I want to eat shroom cake. I want to eat shroom cake. I want to eat tons and tons of shroom cake. Then there is, hold on, where are you at? Did I not download all these? They're all on my email. I can get it in a second. But there was oh, here we go. There's a whale that you make feel better, and he goes, "Oh, I feel so much better now. They should call you Dr. Mario."
Oh my
shit
god.
Like that. One of my favorites is 2 toads talking to each other, and they go, "We are both wicked toads."
What?
I know. I don't know what it just made me so funny.
Are they from Boston? It's from Wicked
that's what I
Toads,
thought,
dude.
some wicked toads. And I thought this one was funny. It's you're speaking to a toad that's a librarian, and he goes, "Of course I know who you are. I am the wise toad, Rusty, like RUSS space T,
Yeah.
period." But the way I read it was Rusty, and then the second sentence is pleasure meeting you. So I just saw it as Rusty Pleasure.
Oh god. My name is Rusty Pleasure.
That sounds like the worst male porn star name.
Oh god. Oh god. It sounds like a male prostitute in the Fallout universe.
Oh, it's so funny, man. Rusty Pleasure. It killed me.
Damn, I've never been so unaroused in my life.
I know, right? Yeah, it's
Damn.
just it's been a fun time.
Yeah.
And so
You said
yeah,
it took you about 25 hours.
a little less than that. It was like 23,
Okay.
23 or so. It was like
Yeah.
22 and a half. It was great though. I really enjoyed my time with it. I I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Now I am taking a break because now I have to switch over and play my Game Boy Advance and play Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, of which I'm about 3 hours in.
Nice.
But instead of streaming every single night like I have been in order to beat Paper Mario, I'm going to be cutting back on that in order to. Oh shoot! Actually, sorry, I just realized something. I think I have a recording scheduled tomorrow, and I
Oh, damn.
totally didn't realize I have a recording scheduled tomorrow. I need to double check because I was just looking at the dates. I was like, oh shoot, I should probably double check all this.
You're like, actually, it's tonight. Gotta go.
Well, I was thinking the reason I was thinking about it is I have been able to do pretty well with okay, I'll be fine. I do have a scheduling. I do have a recording scheduled tomorrow. I'll just have to prep for that tomorrow morning. Anyway, but yeah, so I've been able to find more time for editing before I normally stream, which is at like before my kid goes to bed. So because of that, I've been able to get more playtime in the evening, and so I've been able to stream more often. So this is actually like my fourth night in a row streaming.
Dang. Nice. Yeah, it's going to be a packed week for me, too, because I normally do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, but Thursday is the Game Awards, and I want to stream those. So I'm like, oh, damn, I'm going to be streaming every week, every day this week. And you're right, Gilmer.
Probably be
Rusty
watching.
Rusty Pleasure is definitely a Mr. Handybot for sure. Yeah, so I don't know if that'll maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll take Friday off because I'm not.
It's
I
a
don't
lot.
know. That's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But
It's hard to be on for that long. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like especially like you and I are both kind of introverts, so it's like it's not that we don't like being social, but it's like where do you get your energy from? I don't know about you, but it's from like fucking chilling and fucking no
fucking and chilling and chilling and fucking.
The Josh Koval story.
Well, we finally got a title for your autobiography.
I know it. Fucking and chilling and fucking. The Josh Koval story.
Damn.
Ironically, he never really had sex. No.
Gilmer is always in when we're talking about the weirdest shit. You should have seen me last night. I was talking dirty to this NPC in Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which that's like where my energy comes to answer that question. Like you're like, where do you get the energy? Like if I'm streaming by myself and like no one's in chat or people are in chat but no one's saying anything, it's like it definitely brings the energy down. But then when like stuff like this happens and like people join the conversation, like that's what keeps me going. But so there's a character in your energy is from being horny. Well, not being horny,
not entirely,
but
false.
also not no. No.
No.
So there's a character in Bomb Rush Cyberpunk who you first meet him and he's in a dumpster, like crammed into like a dumpster, and then the second time you meet him, he's like wedged in this little like crawl space, and he's like, help, or no, he doesn't say help. You just talk to him, and he's like, I'm terribly claustrophobic, and they're like, your crew is like, so do you need help? And he's like, no, I like it because I'm also a masochist. And we're like, wait, what? I was like, so is he a claustrophilia? Like, does he have claustrophilia? Like, he likes tight spaces? And I was like, no. I think he's claustrophobic, but he likes being punished. So
yeah, it doesn't necessarily.
He likes being in a situation that he doesn't like because he likes.
Is it possible to be a masochist and not have it involve a sexual component? It just feels good.
Oh yeah,
what
yeah,
I mean?
Totally.
Like, it's like getting a back rub for somebody.
Yeah, well, it's like I think of the guy in Little Shop of Horrors, like Bill Murray's character, when he goes into the crazy ass dentist played by Steve Martin, and he's like ripping his teeth out, and he's like, oh yeah, get in there. Where have you been all my life? And he's like, get the fuck out of my sight, because then it takes away the power dynamic of the dentist.
That's pretty good.
How did we get here?
I don't know.
We're talking about energy levels. Oh, you're streaming a lot to beat Mario, and we're talking about energy levels and
yeah. Well, if you don't mind a complete hard right like turn, not no intention on hard, but
Oh.
the other thing I experienced over the weekend was I went to an Atari party.
Ooh, Atari party. Do tell.
Atari party. So I don't have. I mean, I have. I did post some pictures on Instagram. You can check that out at Still Loading Pod over on Instagram, and a few over on Blue Sky. Only thing I really have to show for is I got this cool little Atari sticker. I did have one. It's kind of. There we go. That's a little bit better.
Nice.
I did have one that actually had Atari in Japanese, and I can't find it anymore. So that's kind of a bummer.
Atari.
Yeah, it was cool. What's crazy is it was like it was right down. It was so close to where I live. I'm not going to say because you can look up Atari Party, and so I'm not going to say the minutes on a public stream.
Yeah.
But like it was so close, dude. Like if it was great.
Nice.
And I got to meet some really cool game preservationists who I actually followed some of them already on Blue Sky. But they met a bunch of cool game preservationists there who it was awesome. Some really cool stuff there too. They had old Atari computers. They had an Atari Jaguar. They obviously had the 2600. I don't know if they didn't have a 5200 because actually the one person who was supposed to bring it, I actually was excited to meet him. His name's Kevin Bunch. He wrote a book called Atari Archive, which you can get on Press Run Books. That's the book publishing branch of Limited Run Games.
But he died.
He also runs a YouTube channel called Atari Archive, and he's an awesome guy. And he was going to come all the way up from Virginia or DC area. He was going to show up, and his kid got sick, so he couldn't. So he wasn't able to go. But I got to meet some of his friends there who were able to show up and come, and it was awesome. Like it was a short little 4-hour thing. It was like noon to 4. At like a local train station, at a small train station.
What?
It was so cool. Yeah, they rented out this little tiny train station space, and they also bought free pizza for people, which I didn't realize. So I missed out on all of it because I was like, well, I'm guessing that's for the staff. I don't want to go in and like steal their food if this was for them, because everyone's volunteering for this. So they but they organize it. It's like once a year. It seems like where people just come and hang out. And they just show off different Atari. Like it kind of reminds me. Actually the episode will be coming out in just a few hours on Patreon. I did an episode with a guy named Jesper Juhl. From he's a Danish professor of video game design at Copenhagen University or whatever Copenhagen. I think it's Copenhagen University. Oh my gosh!
Hey, what's up, Drew? Welcome in. How are you?
But so Jesper wrote a book, and I think I showed on here. It's about the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
And I finished the interview. That episode's dropping on Patreon tomorrow. It'll be out on the free feed on Sunday. And one of the things he talks about in the book is the demo scene. How what people would do is they would bring their Commodore 64s, and it wouldn't be to show off a game or like a video. It was literally just like, think of it as like screensaver tricks, sort of.
What?
But instead of just... But like that's the best way I can describe it. It wasn't meant to be a screensaver. They're not screensavers per se. But you know how like there's a difference between a video game playing a video and then rendering stuff in real time?
Yeah.
Right? They were doing all of that screensaver type of thing, rendering on a computer in real time on a Commodore 64, which remember came out in 82 or 83. So like that's not like shit that like it's not like it's built into the computer to do that type of stuff easily. Like you have to really know your know-how, know your stuff. So the demo scene, which happened in the 80s, was a place for Commodore enthusiasts to meet together, bring their Commodore 64s, and show off the cool shit they figured out how to do on it. It'd be like no different than like a bunch of hockey players coming together and showing all their tricks, not necessarily showing them how to like do how to play the sport entirely, but like, hey, look at this, I can dribble the puck by bouncing the puck off my stick type of thing.
That's awesome.
That's kind of like my comparison of what the demo scene was and still is. The reason I bring that up is because that's kind of what they had here. There was people who brought like homebrew Atari 2600 stuff. There was one a guy named Rob from Atari. I think it's at Atari Spot on at Blue Sky. He has this thing called the movie cart, which he found a way to compress video to work on an Atari 2600 cartridge.
Whoa.
It doesn't look good, and it's the resolution is like, I don't know the exact number, but let's say it's like 100 pixels wide by 400 tall or some
Yeah.
shit like that. It's smaller than
It's
that, but like
yeah.
it's narrow. It's very, very narrow. But he was able to like find he also has to take the video and process it where it only has like, I think it's like 8 colors or some shit
Yeah.
like that, or 4 colors. Like he has to really find a way to like bring it down, and it can only be on so many different scan lines. It's crazy what he did.
That's
But he
wild.
found a way to get like video on the Atari 2600. It's just hyper limited.
Yeah,
He
I
also
think I've
showed off.
seen
He also shared some like legally distinct Sonic called like Zippy the Porcupine or something like that.
Nice.
It was honestly kind of impressive.
Nice.
It was a Sonic game on the Atari 2600, but called Zippy the Porcupine.
That's wild. I think I've seen, I don't know if it's the same guy you're talking about, but I've seen somebody, and I think it was a 2600, them play like Star Wars, like the Empire, or A New Hope, like in via an Atari, which is just wild to me.
It's crazy, dude. Like it's nuts. And he was playing Star Wars on that too for a little bit. There's also like there's some computers that had some like crazy good visuals. I don't know what the brand, I don't know like what model it was. So the way he made it sound was like it was like better looking than it had any right to be for the hardware it was on.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but they had stuff like that. They had an unreleased Commodore or like VIC-20 game or something. VIC-20 is like a brand of Commodore computers, or like a model of Commodore computers. So it was cool. It was just fun to hang out and shoot the shit for a few hours, and I got to try out some Atari games I never would have tried beforehand. They also were giving away some free stuff. I also got this Atari Soft, like it's a postcard.
Oh, okay.
Right? I think that's kind of cool. There was I was honest, I wasn't quite sure, because like when you have something that old like the Atari, generally you have a lot of, you know, older people, right? You know, people who grew up with it. When you're thinking about that, I'm never quite sure like what type of people are going to be here. There was a lot of like a lot of like trans inclusive people there, like just hanging
Nice.
out and like wearing like pride shirts and stuff like that. It was awesome.
Oh, if you watch like SGDQ, like I feel like it's there's so many like
But that's the speed running community. This is like the tech community for
Yeah.
it, which is generally an older demographic. Speed running is like all ages. Like you're going to see it from all points. But like when I think of like, you know, dudes in their 50s who grew up with the Atari 2600, you don't necessarily think progressive. You know what I mean?
I guess
Necessarily.
maybe necessarily, yeah. Depending on the
yeah, it was
area
cool.
too, but
But I mean, this crew, it seems like they're very much like they're all kind of very like-minded. It was awesome. They also had some old copies of Old School Gamer magazine.
nice. Oh man, the console wars.
Well, actually, fun. No, it's cool. My buddy Dexter did the art for this one.
Oh, nice.
He does a lot of the cover art for it. Like he's an illustrator, so
Sick.
yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So it was an awesome time.
I've never heard of an Atari party. That's cool. I would go to a Sega Genesis party for sure.
I can send you some pictures of it just so you can see. But like the reason, excuse me, the reason they have stuff like that is like generally one, Atari's honestly kind of niche now. Like there's it has its
Yeah.
dedicated fans, but like if you go to a game convention, right? NES is generally the oldest that is like still wildly popular.
Yeah.
Like there is like if you look at like what vendors sell, they sell Atari stuff, but they don't really have a lot of it. Like, you know, it's much more limited unless it's like an Atari Lynx or an Atari Jaguar or something that's a little bit more modern than the 2600, right?
Yeah.
Or the 5200.
And games were so simplistic in that era anyway, so I don't imagine many people are like, oh man, you know what's my favorite nostalgic childhood game? Baseball on the Atari.
You never know.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. But that's the thing, though. Like I think that one of the reasons the NES has had such an enduring legacy, and 8-bit gaming in general has had such an enduring legacy. Whether NES is obviously super popular in North America, but like look at the Sega Master System in Europe and Brazil and shit like that, right? Same type of thing. It's because the games were advanced enough that they hold up to modern scrutiny. Not all of them, but like, Super Mario Brothers is still a good game now.
That's what I mean. Like the Atari is so simplistic, even gameplay style. Like I wouldn't know the difference if I saw footage of an Atari versus like a Magnavox Odyssey, or like there just wasn't enough like depth for, I think, it to be memorable. And it's not like they had stories. It was just kind of like do this level. There's not even like, I mean, NES is like very basic, like Mario Brothers, Rescue the Princess. Drew had an Atari. River Raid and King Tut's Tomb.
River Raid is one of the first games, I believe, that was developed by a woman. Believe it or not.
I haven't played either of those.
River Raid, and actually,
because I refuse to play a game made by a woman. No, that's the hill I'm gonna die on. That's my stance.
That's my stance. But no, I think it's just more or less like, there are certain things, like I don't have nostalgia for the NES. I didn't grow up with the NES.
Yeah, me either.
But I can look back on it and I can play it and be like, there's still games in this system's library that hold up today, that are so that they just feel so good to play, and they're designed well enough. Yeah, there's maybe some old jank to it, but it's enough that it's not enough that it feels foreign. Atari is hard because it required a lot more imagination. It required a lot more of the players. Not just because the games were a lot more simplistic, you only had one joystick and one button, but also just because like they required more of your imagination. Like if you're going like games like Adventure or like the fucking Sword Quest things, like it's not like they could render it as beautifully crafted castle or dragon. They would have like a dragon made of 3 green blocks,
right? And
you have to like kind of read in. It asked more of the player, for better or worse.
But that's why you got such cool art out of it, like all those incredible paintings of the cover art and the manuals, and like
there's a book you can buy of that, The Art of Atari or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's by Tim Lapatino.
I think we were talking about this last week. I would love that. That'd be a great coffee table book. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Drew says Maze Craze. I don't think I can name a single Atari game that's not like baseball or racing.
Just straight up
Maze Craze. You were a dot and you had to make your way through lines.
Pitfall, Pac-Man.
Oh
no,
yeah,
Pac-Man. The port of Pac-Man on Atari was awful.
Yeah, I guess Pitfall would probably be the one that would. Pitfall probably has the longest lasting legacy of an Atari game, I think. I mean, aside from like Pong, but like everybody did Pong.
Asteroids, is that an Atari game?
I
know it was.
Think so, because that was like the first like vector graphics game, wasn't it?
That's I don't
know. This is so.
Oh wait, it's developed by Atari Inc. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Asteroids was developed by Atari. I don't know. The thing with it's one of those things where like I respect the shit out of Atari because it's like it's the grandfather of the oh my gosh, the industry.
Yeah.
So I respect the shit out of it, but it is hard to go back and play today for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of things like that in media where I'm like, I'm going to get hate for this. I don't like listening to the Beatles. I like what they have done.
I'm not a Beatles fan either.
For music, I can listen to some of their songs. Like Hey Jude is a great song, but I'm never going to be like, I would love to listen to the Beatles right now. But I respect the hell out of what they did for music. I'm never going to go back and watch a Hitchcock movie and be like, yes, I mean, maybe I shouldn't, because there are ones that I somewhat enjoyed, but like going back to like what's the one that like everybody, oh my god, Rosebud,
Citizen
Kane. I have tried to make myself want to watch that. I've never watched it, to be fair. I try to make myself want to watch it all the time because I'm like, I love movies. Everybody talks about how like good of a movie Citizen Kane is, and I go back and I watch footage of it, and I'm like, this makes me want to peel my eyes off, or peel my eyelids off.
See, that's what's interesting. Like, I like older movies. I kind of take it as a stylistic choice as opposed to like, it's outdated. Like, it's of its time. I don't know. I look at it as I like older stuff like that. It's my favorite movie is the original 12 Angry Men, which I think we talked about before on a different Talk Tuesday.
Maybe we did.
Yeah, because remember I mentioned how like the whole movie is about like dealing with racial issues in the court system and how there was racial prejudices.
Yes,
and it was calling it out. And in the '90s remake, which I have not seen, so I can't say if it's better or worse, but they had multiple people of color on the jury panel, which kind of defeated the purpose of the point that the whole jury was white. Like that was the point of that was the point of that movie was like, hey, we're asking a bunch of white people to make a judgment based off of on a Hispanic person who was also probably being segregated against by the police and by the judge and by all these people. Like that's the whole point of that was to show the racial issues within the court system. And then if you bring in a whole bunch of people of color, that kind of defeats the purpose. Now, maybe in the 90s remake, they changed it so it was showing a different type of issue in the court system. Maybe it wasn't a racial issue. Maybe it was something else. That could be that would make sense to change the plot then. But if you're sticking with the same premise and the same message, it kind of defeats the point. You kind of need you kind of need the jury to be white dudes to show how fucked up it is that a bunch of white dudes are casting judgment on the only person of color in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the point of it. But it's a good movie, by the way. I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah, I would check that out.
Also like White Christmas, but that's not in black and white.
Huh.
You ever see White Christmas?
No.
You'd hate it. Don't watch it.
I hate It's a Wonderful Life.
Do you like musicals?
Yeah, enough. But old musicals are like, my God.
I don't think you'd like it. I love it, but I don't think you'd like it. It also, now that I understand the context of it, there is a song that's very outdated about saying I'd rather see a minstrel show, and I'm like, that's not great.
Oh no!
I mean, it was from the 50s, dude. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, how dare they? I'm like, it was the fucking 50s. It was like they could say a lot of shit back then that was like common then, and now is like not okay.
Unfortunately,
yikes
on bikes. That's so funny. Police says that all the time. Yikes on bikes.
See, I had no idea the origin of the minstrel show until I guess it might have been 2020 when I saw a Twitter thread about it, and I looked it up. I'm like, oh fuck, it is racist. Holy shit!
Yo,
I had no idea.
So
the lyrics literally go, "I'd rather see a minstrel show more than any other show I know," and there is a literal line. Yeah, with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. Yeah, there's a literal line. This is so painful. I'm not defending it. I totally would understand not wanting to watch the movie for this. They go, I'd rather see a minstrel show more than any other show I know. All those colorful chaps. And I went, oh no.
Not the colorful chaps. Not it being called White Christmas.
Right. I mean, at least the movie's about a white Christmas or lack thereof. Yeah. But it is very much like that is like, if you want to talk about definition of white fucking bread Hollywood, that is white ass bread Hollywood. It is. I love that movie. It's a wonderful Christmas movie, but there's it's problematic at times.
Yeah. So there's
not at times.
It's problematic. It's problematic start to finish. So my very first VHS that I ever had as a kid, I still have it because I just digitized it and to preserve it because it's been deteriorating like crazy. It's just called Old MacDonald's Farm, and it was like this a set of like old not like merry melodies, like prior to Looney Tunes, like really old cartoons. And I remember watching it as a kid and loving it. And there's literally a part, like all the farm animals like start a band and they all start playing music and they're all doing different things. And so there's a pig and he's like holding this like pipe. It basically looks like he ripped up like this wood burning stove with like the big I guess, exhaust for like the smoke to go out of, like sitting on the side, and he's trying to blow into it like he's playing like a tuba, and there's like a little blocker thing that's like you have to flip either vertical or horizontal, and he's blowing into it and it's not working, and he's just like, he's getting frustrated and nothing's coming out, and three like little white lambs come up and they start singing, and they're like, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. And then he turns the thing on the stove and goes, Bwah! And he blows all this smoke onto them. And then all of a sudden, all the soot covers them. And then they have like big lips.
Oh, no.
And they're like, Mary had a little old lamb, fleece was black as coal. And I was I was mortified because I was showing Polisa and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it did this. I was literally like 2 the last time I watched this. It was just
movie was this?
It was an old cartoon like VHS. It was just called Old MacDonald's Farm. It was like a bunch of like like Merry Melodies type, like, but the bootleg version of them, like type cartoons.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Oh my God! Some of it still holds up and is very funny, but there's a couple of scenes like that where I'm like, oh, don't look at me! Oh, secondhand embarrassment. Oh, it's so funny though. But
that hurts a little bit.
But I also digitized, and here's the hill that I will die on. I have the Fox VHS version of My Neighbor Totoro, and I digitized that to preserve forever because I don't like getting my VCR out to watch the superior version of My Neighbor Totoro. The Fox dub is better than the one that they did with Elle and Dakota Fanning in like the early 2000s. I am dying on this hill.
I have not actually seen the original dub, I don't think, so I can't really comment on it.
It's so
unfortunately.
Good. Here, check out this cartoon I loved as a child. Oh my God! that was the moment. How did you know precisely what I said? But then there was the other one that I did was it was a Christmas movie cartoon that my sister had as a kid, and she'd always watch it, and I guess it was French. It's just called Santa's Christmas Snooze, but we would always just call it The Bear Magician because the main character was the Bear Magician. And I guess it was French. It's because it was like it's dubbed over, and it's an awful dub, and the production of the animation itself is actually awful as well. But it's one of those so bad it's good movies. Like there's a scene where the camera like pans across a bunch of characters walking, and like there's a character like in a walking animation not going anywhere until the like camera like gets to her, and then she starts moving. It's like catching up. It's so awkward, but very funny. And there's a sequence of like a 2 to 3 second musical loop that plays through like the whole thing, and it just goes like and it just carries on through like half of the movie, and it's burned into my psyche forever. So if anyone in the chat has seen these very weird obscure things, I'm glad we have suffered together. Once again, I ask, how did we get here? Ermagerd.
Parallax is here too.
Peralurks Purdles is her. It is a just a party in here.
Yeah, lots of people hanging out. What's up, everybody?
Oh, you were talking about Atari Party. When you first said it, I was like, is that a euphemism? Like, is it like
no?
Oh, so a bunch of dudes get around and just hold their joysticks, if you know what I mean.
Play with your Atari joysticks.
Yeah. When is the hot tub stream? It's right now, baby. No. hit the button. My living room just fills up with water. And then I am electrocuted and I die.
You had it coming.
Hey, had it coming. So that's a musical that I like.
You like Chicago?
I do like Chicago.
It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah, I see. I like the ones that have a little bit of edge to them, like the ones like 42nd Street, because I did a lot of work for a local theater that puts on like a ton of those shows.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and so I get to go to all of them for free because I would like design their like logos and some of the artwork and stuff. So we'd go and I'd be like, Chicago was cool. I hated like 42nd Street. I mean, it was fine. I love Little Shop of Horrors. I hate like Guys and Dolls, or like I hate Jersey Boys. Like I hate the really old timey kind of ones. I like them to have like some kind of edge to them, I guess. Like obviously my favorite musical of all time is Hadestown. I know it's a newer one, but like, have you guys seen Les Mis? No, I have not. That's one that I have not.
That one seems daunting to me. That feels like a 5-hour performance, and I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. It's funny, like, because like it's interesting. Like, I'm like, how can you like be immediately turned off by those old timey musicals when like I hear Les Mis, I'm like, oh, that just seems bad. Like,
I just know it's sad. I'm just not ready for that. But like I like Rent. I like
Drew hated Les Mis.
Yeah. I just don't want to cry. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that because one of the things that I'm about to share is why I like it is because it makes me cry. I don't know if I'm ready to like sob my ever loving eyeballs out. It's tough but worth a watch because Philip Quast singing stars. I know in the movie, what's his name? Hugh Jackman is in the movie version of it, and I will watch anything that he's in because I am in love with him. In every way you can be.
I want to see The Greatest Showman, which Hugh Jackman did the movie of.
That's a great one. I really like that one.
Yeah.
Besides,
I like the music a lot too.
Yeah, the music's great. If you remove the fact that they don't address P.T. Barnum being an absolute horrible garbage human being, it's a great musical, and he's incredible in everything.
I also love the only thing that I remember there was a big controversy of. I think it was like Jeremy Jordan was who I think it ended up going to Zac Efron. The role that Zac Efron played, it was supposed to go to this dude named Jeremy Jordan, I want to say.
Was he younger?
No, Jeremy Jordan is just like, hold on, let me double check this. Jeremy Jordan, let me make sure I have the right guy.
I just thought it was weird that, what's his name? You just said his name, the guy who actually got that role. Zac Efron.
Oh, Efron.
Zac Efron being paired with Zendaya is just bizarre to me because they're like almost a generation apart.
Zac Efron is 37, which is wild to think about. Zendaya is what? She's in her mid-early 20s, right? She's 28 actually. So yeah, they're about 10 years.
About 10 years, yeah.
A little less than that.
Huge jacked man. Yeah.
Jeremy Jordan he's a stage actor and singer. He's a famous Broadway. He's famous for being on Broadway. He I think one of his breakout things was he did the revamped version of Newsies, because you know how Disney did the musical Newsies in the 90s.
Yeah. Christian Bale.
Joey Jordison. No. Wait, what? What about Chris? What?
Christian Bale was like the in Newsies.
Christian man. I'm like, what does that have to do with Christianity?
I said he's a Christian male.
Yeah, a Christian male.
The truly oppressed people today. Especially if you ask
this isn't fucking like
Kirk
Roman
Cameron
Empire times.
Fucking
Kirk Cameron's a goddamn idiot.
Oh god, that movie.
But so yeah, he kind of I don't know what was his breakout thing. I know I first heard about him because of his role. He had the lead in the Broadway version of Newsies in like 2011ish or like in the mid 2010s. They were trying to, he was trying to oh wow, he's Gatsby in The Great Gatsby. Interesting.
Oh cool.
So he basically, when they were trying to get the studio to say yes to doing The Greatest Showman, they basically brought in, you know, the music was all written, a lot of the actors were either being cast or the whatnot, and they did basically kind of like a table read, but of the songs, to kind of play it for the movie producers to pitch to them, like, hey, this is what we want to do, please greenlight this movie. And you know, Hugh Jackman was there and all this other stuff. Well, before Zac Efron was signed on, before the movie got greenlit, they brought Jeremy Jordan. Like, he flew into New York City, and he was sick, and he got called last minute for this, and he's like, well, this is a good opportunity. I might be sick, but if I can pull this off, I'm going to get a big movie role with Hugh Jackman and shit like that, like, right? And there's a really cool video. I can send it to you in chat for you to watch later. It's it's From Now On or whatever. It's a really wonderful moment.
Mm.
But the yeah, From Now On. What happens is there it's like you see them like in a studio, like just recording. And there's a bunch of like day players, pretty much just people who show up and are there to like who learn music on the day and perform. That's fun fact. That's actually a lot of game orchestras. Like when orchestras play like record video game music, they don't spend months rehearsing it. They have like 4 days to do it.
Wow,
It's
that's
fucking
nuts.
yeah. I shout out to Gareth Coker for filling me in on that when I did that when I spoke to him.
Yeah.
But
Also,
so yeah,
just to
like
quickly address the chat, which is moving pretty quickly, which feels pretty good.
yeah,
He's the voice of Hasbin Hotel. If you've ever seen that, or he's the voice of
I
Lucifer
have
in
not.
Hasbin Hotel. I liked it. I was definitely more of a Hell of a Boss guy. I would definitely recommend Hell of a Boss. It's a very funny. They're both like funny, irreverent, like short indie animated series. But
Mhm.
the it sounds like they're getting serious talent for these, which is wild. Like I know Richard Horvitz is in Hell of a Boss, like, and he basically just still plays Zim. He just plays like a wimpier version of Zim. And Brandon Rogers is the boss, if you know who he is. He was like a YouTuber.
But so they perform the song, and it's one of Hugh Jackman. They say it in the beginning of the video that I just linked to you, how he had just gotten like some very minor surgery done for skin cancer on his nose. It was
Ooh.
benign, so he was okay. But he was told he could not sing because they just put stitches on his nose and anything that would like
Oh
all facial movements.
no.
So this is the big pitch thing, and he can't like the whole thing they're trying to sell is Hugh Jackman's going to be there singing in person for these Hollywood studio execs, right? Um, and so the video, what's amazing about the video is like Jeremy Jordan comes in, and he's doing Zac Efron's role, but for that song, he was going to sing Hugh Jackman's part, and Hugh Jackman was just gonna kind of like act like he was singing, like kind of like to show like he was going to be there for solidarity, but also kind of like be like kind of be the showman that he is, right?
Yeah, the greatest
Um,
showman.
and what's captivating about it is like the song starts, and Hugh Jackman like they start performing it. It's like 30 seconds to like a minute into it, and he just can't help himself, and he starts singing, and like the whole room just erupts in like this like beautiful humanity of just like everyone being so into this song and just like letting themselves get lost in the moment. It's beautiful.
Oh,
It's beautiful to watch. Even if you don't like the song, seeing the joy on everyone's faces and see how they just don't give a fuck. They're there for that. Like that song has just transported them, and they are just in a zone.
yeah. What song
And
was
like
it?
it was From Now On.
Is that the?
From now on, these eyes will never be blinded by the light. From now on. Something like that. I don't
I
know all the words.
I don't remember that song. I've only seen it once, but I loved it.
Like an anthem
Wow,
in my heart. But
that's
it's
an awesome
really
story
cool.
though.
And the actress who plays the bearded lady, Kiara, I forget the actress's name. Um, she was there too, and there is like a moment where yeah, this is me, the song, this is me,
Yeah,
Kiala, that's her name. uh Great song, great like power anthem, right?
yeah. I'm like, gets me pumped up.
So she was at the time she was just kind of like recording, like she was also kind of like one of those not maybe not day players, but kind of like doing the recording things to like have for people to hear what it's going to sound like, and then they would get the big name attached to it. Hugh Jackman was so impressed with her that he got her the role as the bearded woman.
Wow.
And she was so I'll share that one too because it's the same like recording set, like it's the same like behind the scenes session of like meeting with the studio execs or whatever. um but she was so nervous about having to sing in front of people, she didn't know what she could do. And there's a moment that like she gets so uh nervous she has to like hold Hugh Jackman's hand because she's about to break down in tears because her nerves are getting to her even though she's midway through the song.
Wow.
And the emotion going, like she starts feeling the emotion, and the emotion gets to her, and then Hugh Jackman, like he's looking her in the eyes the whole time, and it's one of those the big drop offs, or like drop offs in the song for Juxtaposition, where everyone's singing, and she's like, "I'm not scared to be who I want to be. This is me," and she like whispers it, and everything goes quiet, and Hugh just goes, huh, and he starts like wiping away tears, and then it bursts into the huge, like, and then it continues on, like it's bombastic. It's a wonderful thing.
I love that. You
will cry. You will cry watching both those videos. I promise you.
I will, and I'm looking forward to it. He's up there on. Police and I were just talking about, like, we're both not like super into like celebrity culture. I mean, like, we like the things that we like, and like, but we're not celebrity worshiper by any means, and I don't follow like beef between this person and this person. But we were talking about, like, who's like a living celebrity that you would just like absolutely kill to just sit down and have a conversation with. Not like, oh, I'd love to run into them on the street. Like, I want to sit down and actually talk to one of these people. And I think my top two are well, now that you said Hugh Jackman, he's definitely on my short list. I said Jim Carrey first because he seems like somebody who you could have like a really deep, super intricate conversation with, and you'll get multiple versions of him throughout it. And so I said him, Bryce Dallas Howard, because one, she's my celebrity crush, and she's a like huge Star Wars nerd. So I would love to talk to her. And I put Hugh Jackman, and my other celebrity crush, even though I am 99% straight, he gets through that 1%. Henry Cavill is my other celebrity crush.
Handsome.
Yeah.
He's very handsome. If I had,
and he's a nerd too.
Yeah. Like, there's videos of him building a PC shirtless.
I know. I was like, God damn it, you're gonna make me change teams.
I'm trying to think who would be a celebrity that I would want to sit down and like legitimately Parallax short answers Robin Williams.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Talk sad boy things with him for hours. Yeah.
He's my number one like celebrity death that hit me the hardest. And that's why I was like, we're gonna have to limit it to living living people, because he'd be my number one too. I would love to talk with him. Oh,
the only one that really pops into my head. See, I wouldn't even want to talk to Kevin Smith, believe it or not. I I would, but I wouldn't want it to be like, here's the thing, we're gonna sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
With him, I would want it to feel more like, it just happened to, our conversation happened, as opposed to like we're gonna sit down and just meet and talk for the first time and have a deep conversation. I would like that to come more organically with him instead of like kind of like this feels more like a scheduled type of thing.
Yeah.
Matt Gorley, who is, I know, not like a big celebrity or anything like that. He is Conan O'Brien's producer on his podcast.
Okay.
I've listened to him for years, though, on his own podcasts. I've shouted them out to hell and back. He's the James Bonding, Super Ego, Mall Walkin', which is just him and his friend Mark McConville just recording themselves walking through malls.
Nice.
Just talking about what they see. They also, on the same podcast feed, they changed the name of the podcast feed to Mall Walkin'. It used to be Pistol Shrimps Radio, where him and his friend Mark would do play-by-play of a women's rec league basketball team. Then they know nothing about basketball. So that's kind of like the joke of it.
What?
It's wonderful.
That's funny.
They basically, one of the jokes is every time the free throw, you go up to take a free throw because of a foul or whatever. Well, since Matt didn't know what that was, he says it looks like they're kind of like praying. So it became a running joke that it's free throw scriptures every time that someone goes up to take a free throw. It looks like they're bowing their head in prayer. Yeah. So then he would just start making up things like, and then Beelzebub came down from the mountain and told Jimmy John or something, like just making shit up.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then he did a podcast called I Was There Too, which was where he interviewed people who had small parts in famous scenes in cinema history.
Oh, nice.
So Star Wars, you're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's a huge Star Wars fan. One of his favorite franchises. Remember in the scene, Obi-Wan Kenobi does, "These are not the droids you're looking for."
Yeah. These are not the droids we're looking for.
He found the stormtrooper that he did that to and interviewed him.
Yo, that's awesome.
Right?
It's so funny because in the newer ones, a lot of the stormtrooper like individual moments like that are like big name people. Like in Force Awakens, Rey like says to like a stormtrooper like, "You will release these restraints and leave your blaster on the ground."
Daniel Craig.
It's Daniel Craig. Yeah. It's so funny. What a guy! Imagine to be like, yeah, I was that guy. That. You're not the droids you're looking for. Yeah, that was me under there. Nobody's gonna believe you because I was in head to toe covering, but it'd be cool to say you were.
But so Matt Gorley would be the one I would love to. Man, if I could ever meet him, he knows who I am to an extent too. He does a podcast with a guy named Andy Daly. I've played some of his clips for you before. He plays that character Dalton Wilcox, the vampire hunter, the cowboy poet laureate, who's also a vampire hunter.
Yeah.
He
has sex with the ground.
A land Virginie is what he calls it.
Oh God.
And if a cowboy seed worked like the other seeds, there'd be cowboys growing across the plain like trees.
God.
Oh, it's so fucking funny. So Andy Daly has a podcast called Bonanas for Bonanza, and
Leonard Nimoy. Yeah, he's gone too.
Leonard Nimoy. You know what? LeVar Burton.
Yo, oh my God, yes.
Abso-fucking-lutely LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to chat with him for just a moment, a minute of his time.
Yeah. Even more so if I was into Star Trek, which I'm not, but like just his time on Reading Rainbow, I bet he would just have, or like Bill Nye or like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I would love to talk to one of those like super smart scientists.
Neil deGrasse Tyson seems awesome too.
Yeah,
I like him. But no, LeVar Burton. Did you know LeVar Burton? It ended a couple months ago, but he had a podcast. Called LeVar Burton Reads, and he would read short science fiction stories, like for adults, not geared towards kids, but like adult science fiction. And it was like 30-40 minute episodes, and he would, it's fully produced, like sound effects and everything.
Yeah.
And he would read a story to you just kind of like it was in Reading Rainbow, but it was all kind of, and then he would talk a little bit about it and what he liked about it.
Don't take my word for it.
He would always do that. He was like,
he
would always end each episode be like, what is it? You can subscribe to the show and here. You can leave a rating and review and blah, blah, blah. It's like, and we will see you next time, but you don't have to take my word for it.
I love that. That sends me back.
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. The stories he picks, like there's so many, they're very thought provoking. They're great. I would love to have a chance to have a conversation with LeVar Burton. I actually reached out to his daughter, Mika, I think it's Mika. She used to work for Rooster Teeth. Like she's big into anime and video games.
Oh, word.
And I tried to get her on my Final Fantasy draft, but I reached out to her people because I don't think she has like a representative type of thing. Whatnot, a publicist or whatever the fuck. And they never responded. So I'm like, not surprised.
I'd be like, Mika, is your dad home?
I know, right? I know. I mean, I wouldn't just invite her on just to meet her dad.
No.
Like, I invited her on because, like, I saw she was a fan of Final Fantasy, and I'm like, I'm looking for guests for my Final Fantasy draft.
Yeah,
that'd be cool to do.
That would be awesome. So, I gotta reach out to more people to, because I've loved the people that I have talked to. Like, I know we always talk about Gary Chalk. That's one of my favorite interviews. And Sissy Jones, I want to have her back on. We still talk, like.
Really?
Yeah.
She never messages me.
Really? We haven't in a while. Due probably to the divorce.
I think it was that the last time that she reached out to you was for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
And I understand, like, we were working on something with the three of us together, and it was like she probably doesn't want to have to like pick and choose, who she talks to, who she doesn't. I didn't say like what happened, but I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, because she reached out for like another like shirt design, and I was like, okay, so like I just want to let you know I'm no longer with so and so, and she was like, that's totally cool, thanks for letting me know. And so we haven't talked about like collaborating in a while, but we talk every year on our birthdays because we have the same birthday.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes. So I shoot her a message every year, and that's
She's awesome, man.
yeah, that's all that we kind of talk about now. But for a long, I think we did that interview in 2020, maybe
Something like that.
2021, and I talked to her like it's seemingly like every few months, like for up until like 2020, like late 2022, or no, early 2023. It was cool.
Wow.
I was like, damn. I know I felt like such a I got an in with the BAFTA award-winning actress Sissy Jones. But I want to have more guests like that on.
She's awesome, man. I love Sissy Jones. I haven't had her on again just because it's like I did actually. You know what? I wanted to have her on to talk about AI in voice acting because
Oh,
that's something she's passionate about.
very outspoken about that.
Yes, I should really reach out to her again and just like because I think I reached out to her a while ago when it was like at its apex, and then she was like, "I'm just too busy." I'm like, "Totally fair, totally get it."
Yeah.
I just thought because like I've already interviewed her twice on the podcast, like I can't really ask her things again,
You're right.
unless it's like for a specific project. But I would have to like know the project beforehand and all this other stuff. So I don't
Right.
know. She's awesome though. I love Sissy Jones.
Yeah, she's great.
She is so but she has a name that I feel weird that it's saying only. I love Sissy. That just sounds weird. I have to say Sissy Jones. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is, but
I mean, hey, never mind. I'm gonna go somewhere I shouldn't.
that's right, Andrew. You just curb that.
Yep. I've done enough of twisting things that I shouldn't. Anyway, I know you wanted to stream, and we're coming up on an hour and a half. This was a excellent conversation. Thanks, Gilmer. Was there anything else that you experienced this week that you wanted to discuss?
No, I think the main thing I wanted to gush about was the Atari party, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
Such a good time, man. I got to meet so many cool people. Hopefully going to get some of them on the show at some point in time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. For me, the only things I really have of note is I know you haven't watched one, but I need to gush about I started watching and am now almost finished because I can't stop watching it. Not the
Bluey.
Legend. The what?
Bluey.
Bluey. No. I'm telling you, if you watch the rest of Arcane, I'll watch more Bluey.
I'll get around to it.
I know. I watched the newest Gundam series, the Gundam Legend. Why do I always want to say the Legend of Gundam? Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. The last most recent one, which I think wrapped up in 2018, called Iron Blooded Orphans, is one of the greatest anime series I've ever watched in my entire goddamn life. And why I watch that and why I enjoy this one is because it's not tied to any of the other greater Gundam verse or any of the ridiculous timelines that they have. Enter the Gundam verse. So it's just good stories in a cool universe where they have giant robots, and this one is like it takes place like in a school. So the last one was like about child soldiers and orphans and like very much more like desolate and gritty and grimy. And this one's like this version of this universe, whatever, is like very much like clean and like what we wanted technology to be like. And everybody has just ridiculous amounts of money for some reason, unless you're, from Earth, because people from Earth are like kind of oppressed in this one. Yeah. But it takes place on a school. So like, the main character, I'm pretty sure they're also setting up for it to be the first lesbian romance in a Gundam series. I'm feeling some things. I think the main character is going to get with another character who's a girl. And they kind of set something up in the beginning, like somewhat as a joke, but I think their relationship is kind of budding. Like in the first couple episodes, just to like lay the groundwork for like how they tell this story. At this school, the holder is like basically the valedictorian times 10. It's like they're like I hate referencing this, but like the prefects in Harry Potter. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, I've got an email about a podcast schedule.
Word.
The prefects. What about who are the prefects in Harry Potter?
There's a title of like holder at this school in this in the Mobile Suit Gundam series. I don't know why I said Mobile Suit Gundam. I don't know why I used its Christian name in this Gundam series.
Excuse me, they are atheists. Use its atheist name.
Its atheist name. You are basically like everyone's gunning for that position.
Motherfucking Suit Gundam. That's its atheist name.
Everyone's kind of like gunning for that position, and so the main character girl kind of comes in the middle of like a semester, and there's this guy, not the government name. There's this guy he's the current holder, and he challenges this one girl to a Gundam battle to be his fiance, because I guess that's something that you can also do as part of it. You can decide that via a Gundam battle at this school. You can decide basically anything via a Gundam battle at this school. And so what the main character girl doesn't know is she intervenes, beats the guy, and then becomes the holder of the school and also becomes the girl's fiance. And so I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, but I'm a girl. And like the girl who she becomes fiance of is like, yeah, I don't care. You guys on Earth are so backwards. Or she's from Mercury. She's like, you guys on Mercury are so backwards. Like, I don't care about gender. And so I was like, oh, okay. So she's into it. So now we just need the show to, I think it's leading up to, there's a lot of subtext and a lot of not so subtle things in the opening and endings that I was like, I think they're going to be gay. I think these girls going to be kissing. Which is like wild Japan is pretty behind on, LGBT stuff. Yes. So it was cool to see something so mainstream be putting this out there, or at least setting this up. I don't know. I don't know for sure if they do, but it's sounding like they are. It also made me cry every single episode I've watched in the past 2 days, which I watched like 4 episodes and I've cried at every single one for happy or for sad. So highly recommend if you like a good cry and you like incredible the animation and sound design is like on par with like this is like a dated reference, but like when Evangelion came out, it was like top of the line animation and just wicked sound design. They took a lot of that into this, which I think is what inspired them to make the decision. And this is breaking news, as in I haven't talked about it yet. Hideaki Anno, who made Evangelion, is making the next Gundam series.
Ooh,
so I was like, oh, okay.
I've never seen Evangelion.
Okay. I've seen a little bit of it. I do need to go back and watch it, especially as like a mecha fan. But they've released his design for like the main Gundam, and it looks weird as hell. And everybody's like, that looks dumb. And I'm like, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be good. I promise you. just trust in this twisted man's mind. And it's gonna be depressing. You're gonna be sad. But looking forward to that. I've been very much enjoying The Legend of Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. And yeah, I don't know how to end these things when I'm like talking about something that you've never seen or have no interest in.
I'm just listening. That's
You're like, yeah,
I don't have any.
Cool. The only other thing, so that's been making me cry. I've watched something that has been making me laugh. And are you familiar with the comedy troupe Aunty Donna?
Yes, actually, I've never listened to any of their stuff, but they've made appearances on Comedy Bang Bang, and I love Comedy.
Whoa,
Bang Bang.
Nice. They are hysterical. So they have a Netflix series called Aunty Donna's Great House of Fun or something like that. Highly recommend. It's very short. It's like maybe 6 episodes. Hysterical, like piss your pants laughing. If you like weird, absurd stuff, it is hysterical. And then so we watched recently they have it's just free on YouTube. You can watch their most recent like stand-up live show special. And
Okay.
when I tell you, we kept having to pause because we were laughing so hard and so loud that we weren't hearing the next joke, and we kept having to go back. But then we would laugh at a previous joke again, and then it would be funnier, and then we'd keep laughing. It took us like 3 hours to watch an hour-long special. It was so goddamn funny. Highly recommend.
I'm all for anything that's going to make me laugh right now. So,
Oh my God.
I'm down for that.
For sure. It was a very much a nice escape from existing.
Everything.
Yeah. But and they're Australian, so like they somehow make everything funnier.
Oh no.
Arnar.
Oh no. I can't even do an Australian. I can't do any goddamn accent.
All the Bluey that you've watched, you'd think that you would.
Nope.
Bingar. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's-
I can't do it.
that's pretty much it for me. I know we're a little running a little late, but that wraps it up for me. Anything else? I have a topic to talk about for next week. So
Okay. No, I don't really have anything. I got everything I wanted. I'm very curious to watch this Auntie Donna special though, if I have time to.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good though. I'm looking for some more comedy stuff in general because like I don't get to listen to podcasts as much as I used to ever since I started working from home. So my podcast listening has dropped considerably. I average maybe 10 hours a week when before it was like 20, 25
Wow.
hours of podcast listening a week. So it really just depends on what I get to listen to and what I don't. And it's a bummer because there's a podcast I really like, but they release episodes 3 days a week. So I can't keep up
Jeez.
with them.
Is that hockey one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that hockey one.
Yeah. I didn't mean that to sound so like degrading. Is that hockey bullshit you listen to?
I didn't take it that way.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't take it that way.
I was like, I hope I didn't sound like, when your parents are like, "Are you playing them damn games?"
Are you playing Among Us?
Yeah. Oh my god, the killer game Among Us.
The callback right there.
Oh my god, I know. What a full circle.
But no, I'm once we're done here, I'll be playing some Outer Wilds. That's what I'm going to be diving into next.
Nice. I will definitely raid you, but I will probably not watch it because I want to go into that game completely blind. Josh loves that hockey. He sure does.
Love that hockey.
I know we live like an hour and a half away, and probably more. I think further now that you've moved. I've been wanting to rollerblade again, like crazy. We need to like rollerblade because
yeah, absolutely.
I've been playing. I've been on a Jet Set Radio hunger kick, which is why I've been playing Bomb Rush Cyberpunk again lately. And oh my god, it just makes me want to just hit the streets and listen to some Hideki Naganuma funky fresh beats and just cruise around. I'm probably gonna watch Air Gear again.
If we can get a cosplay together, we could totally skate around together, and you can get Police to like video us, and we'll post it on Instagram. Like I think that'd be kind of funny. Actually,
I've already got a beat cosplay from Jet Set Radio Future, so I am ready to go whenever you are.
I don't have any cosplay, so you'd have to pick a character for me, and I'll see what I can do.
I would think you would do well as Yo-Yo.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, he's the guy, like the pseudo kind of other secondary main character. Actually, he kind of is the protagonist in Future. He's got the 3D glasses. He's the one with the dog, like the teal kind of high collar. He has a dog in Jet Set Radio Future.
I mean, unfortunately, everything I'm seeing is like fan art of it, so it's very hard to find.
I had my son watch Rocket Power with me tonight. He wants to skateboard now. Hell yeah! I'm such and what do you call it? Like a anomaly when it comes to the great wood pusher versus fruit booter debate. I started out as a rollerblader, so I think because of Jet Set Radio and then or not even because I was still a kid, and this was before original Xbox even came out. I rollerbladed, and then it became uncool/gay to rollerblade, and I got bullied out of rollerblading, and then I got into skateboarding because of it to assimilate and fit in because I was weak. And then I got really into skateboarding, and then I never really got good enough at either of them to feel competent, so I just kind of waffled back and forth, and now I'm like, all right, you want to rollerblade? Sick. You want to skateboard? Sick. I love that too. So...
real quick fun fact before, because I do have to start my
Yes.
stream. And speaking of Rocket Power, I interviewed one of the creators and writers of Rocket
Nice.
Power,
That's dope.
Andy McElfresh.
Nice.
It's on the show. You can find it. I'll, you know what? I'll look it up. Still loading podcast.
And yes, Gilmer,
Andy
I am
McElfresh.
something of an amateur cosplayer. I don't do it a lot anymore.
Episode 173 from December 7th, 2020. Interviewed Andy McElfresh.
Wow, 2020.
Yeah.
That's cool though. That was one of my favorites growing up, and I love that they were like that. That was before the great civil war of extreme sports. Like they would ride their bikes, they would skateboard, they would rollerblade, they would surf. Like they coexisted. They snowboarded. Otto broke his leg snowboarding.
Yep. But
Anyway,
all right, I gotta wrap this up, dude.
Yep, I will let you go. Get into the Outer Wilds, and I will raid you. This has been awesome. This is one of my favorite episodes in a while. I loved everybody going.
I see how it is. So last week wasn't good.
I said it was one of my favorites, and last week was good.
I'm just fucking with it.
Trying to get into it, but that's a story for another time. Yeah, next week or tomorrow, Gilmer. Happy to hear your experience in the cosplay world, because I've had some ups and some downs, for sure. All right, sir. Thank you for hanging out. I will see you next Tuesday for a Talk Tuesday. I'm saying it like my grandmother would. Tuesday.
All right. See you later.
All right. Take it easy. All right. Let's give that just a quick second for him to get set up and running. But we are going to raid Joshua. Josh, middle name Koval. I don't know if I remember his middle name. I should know this because we've been friends for like freaking 15 years. I probably shouldn't say it out loud, even if I do remember it, because I don't know if you would want that. It's such a weird thing being on the internet and having just like your name out there. Like I'm always like, oh, weird. Somebody could just probably like Google me and steal my identity and find out all kinds of stuff about me. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I don't have any money. So if you're going to steal my identity, all you're going to get is debt. But it's like, I also don't want to be the, oh my God, I've got to hide everything on the internet so that nobody can find out like even what state I live in. And it's like, that feels exhausting and also impractical anyway. Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like with enough work, you could find enough information about anybody. So my screen name is most of my name. Yeah, it was weird. Like I get into moments where I'm like, what if somebody or God forbid, is freaking out about, I freak out sometimes about somebody being like seeing my girlfriend and being like, oh yeah, and just wanting to do something creepy towards her. And I'm like, but I mean, she's a model and content creator as well. So like her full name is out there too, just on the regular. So if you're going to find something about somebody, they're going to find it whether you're hiding or not. So do you ever wonder if you've been Rule 34'd? I haven't until right now, this very second. But honestly, I wish I was, because I feel like that means that I've made it. Like when you get to that point, if somebody's making horny art of you, like then somebody cares. Like I'm trying to get a EX double P. Yeah, where the experience or E triple XP, like experience, the experience point, but triple X. Damn. No, like I'm trying to get a graphic novel off the ground, and that's one of my many like creative endeavors. And aside from the underage characters, I cannot wait until I find out that people have made like horny artwork of my graphic novel. I'm going to be so stoked. I'm going to be like, hell yeah, I've made it. Like I've made an impact in somebody's life so much that I've made a character that they've been like, oh my God, I want to fuck them. So here, I drew them naked. Like, like that. Yeah, there it is. The experience point. I don't know. I see that as a badge of honor. Like, I don't know. I think about granted, I obviously don't have anywhere near the same audience, but the Game Grumps, like, people do like gay art of them, and I think they're a little bit uncomfortable by it, which is like, yeah, sure, but I'd be like, hell yeah. Well, now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe I would be flattered. It's a goalpost for sure. Yeah, yeah, totally. I think I would be flattered. I would be a little weirded out. I would probably still be uncomfortable, but I'd be like, yes, yes. That means I made a difference in somebody's life, or maybe just their pants. Which, hey, I started the Experience Point to share in the emotions that we all get from absorbing media of any kind, whether it's movies or TV or games or books or food even. So if it means that you are passionate, then as long as you're not, I don't know, as long as it's not harmful, then I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care. You can hold my head, Futterburger. I don't care. All right. Josh can tell you, I love to ramble, so listening to others talk is my jam. Hell yeah. Well, that works out greatly. Greatly? Is greatly? Yes, it is a word. That works out great because I love talking to people. So, I know Parallax, the one time you came into my stream, you're like, oh God, like, I'm sorry, I'm talking so much. And I was like, no, never apologize for that. Please keep talking. I'm like, I'd live off of this stuff. I love conversations about life and nerdy stuff and all of the above. It's literally why I started this whole thing, this whole EXX XXX Experience Point. I am starting to wonder if maybe I shouldn't have named it that, because I do think it's a pretty clever pun. However, everybody just reads it as the EXP point. And I'm like, that's harder to say. Where the hell is my chat button? I do blow up chat sometimes. And I'm very grateful for it, honestly. Like I said, a lot of names. The Sexperience Point. Oh my God. Okay, that's it. That's the one. That's the one. You win. Nope. Don't stop. Can't stop. Don't stop. Where in the hell? There we go. Welcome to the Sexperience Point. I'd be blowing it up more if I weren't at work. Oh. Sorry to hear that you're working, but happy to hear that you are. Whoa. It's happening on my TV. That was weird. I had like a double sound thing happening. Happy to hear that you're able to join in streams and talk and chat and stuff, though, while you're at work. Another regular, semi-regular. I haven't seen him in a while. Probably because I stopped playing Zelda. But there's someone named Barefoot Link Lover that pops into my chat sometimes. So I'm like, yeah, we talk about we talk about horny stuff sometimes. January 2nd, I go to first shift. Nice. Oh God, are you like a graveyard shift right now? That's miserable. I've known many people who have done like late night shifts, and it sounds like it's eating them alive. Actually, the aforementioned Barefoot Link Lover, which is just like hilariously open and honest username. He works overnights too, and I'm like, God, that sounds miserable. Second shift, so 3 to 11:30. Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess that's fine. It's definitely not the worst. I've had to do, it would be like once a year, but some of my retail jobs I've had when I was in my like late teens, early 20s, it would be like working at GameStop or at a Sony store on Black Friday. Overnight shifts every year, mandatory overnight shifts, to the point where it was like, if you call out, we will fire you. And I had the flu one year, and so I remember working a 14-hour overnight shift at an electronics retail store on Black Friday with the flu, I thought I was going to die. And if I had had the boundaries that I had now, I would have probably either told them to go fuck themselves, or shown up anyway and then vomited directly on my boss, which is probably what I should have done. Hashtag fuck GameStop. You are so right about that. That was the greatest job I had. One of the greatest jobs I had ever until I became like a key holder. It's great for if you're just an entry level whatever into the company because they really don't care about you and what you do. And then when you become a key holder, you're important. You find out that they don't care about you as a person, but they have their eye on you. And they will use you as a scapegoat for anything possible. They closed my store. I wasn't like a store manager, but I was essentially an assistant manager. I was like a third key. They closed my store because they had opened a newer store. And we weren't getting any business because ours was falling apart. And so they just came in and found a bunch of like bullshit reasons to fire us all. And within like 2 weeks, they fired the whole staff for like, oh, well, he did this and he did this and she did this. And fired. What? Why do you guys suck so bad? It's definitely not because we want to close the store to stop the costs. And so one day I found out that I was losing my job. They hold games on release day for their friends instead of paying customers. Oh my God. Yeah, that was so annoying. Oh, I did overnights in a manufacturing job for 5 years. Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare. Hashtag fuck GameStop again. Yeah, totally. I will never work another retail job again. I did learn a lot of things, like respect for people who work retail jobs. It's the same reason why I will never give a server a hard time at a restaurant, because 9 times out of 10, it's something out of their control. And I've been a server, so I know what a shitty job that is, getting paid $3 an hour if you're lucky, because they expect you to get tips. And then if the kitchen fucks up, you don't get paid, but they do. Oh God. Anyway. Oh, I wanted to tell Josh this, and maybe I will next week as well. But Gilmer, when you said earlier, you said, oh, you made like a D's nuts joke. What was the? I forget what it was, but brevity or levity. You said like levity's nuts. I'm a school custodian. Yeah, levity's nuts. I'm a school custodian, so lack of respect is my life. Oh, damn, that sucks. My dad did that for a while. It was weird because it was at the school that I went to. So I was a little kid. I was maybe first grade. So I would just be like walking in the halls, and I would just see my dad like just pushing like one of those trash cans on wheels down the hall, and I'd be like, this is weird. You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be home. Anyway, when you said levity's nuts, Josh got to talking, and I didn't want to interrupt, as I can tend to do. But my girlfriend and I were like pissing ourselves laughing because she was telling me this story, and then tying it back to being a server. She worked at a noodle shop, like a ramen shop, when we first met. And she was like, one time this customer came in, and it was like 2 minutes before close, and he ordered a shoyu ramen. So in Japanese, shoyu is soy sauce. So it's like a soy base. And apparently one of the you already know where it's going. One of the cooks in the back was like, show you these nuts. And it was like a little bit too loud. Yeah, show me that ramen. Yeah. It was apparently like a little bit too loud that like the customer actually heard, and luckily he was cool about it, and they all started dying laughing. Because I imagine it was at the end of the night, and like there wasn't even any music playing, so you hear everything in a restaurant at that late. So I was dying talking about that. And then another day, she was talking about, she got some, skincare product, and she was like, oh, cool, it's got eucalyptus in it. And I was like, eucalyptus dick. And it was like, and then I started cracking up at my own joke because I said it before I think my brain even realized that it would be funny if I said it. And so I'm like, eucalyptus dick. And then we both just start like crying, laughing. And I'm laughing because I catch myself off guard, if that makes any sense. Maybe that's the ADHD talking, but oh my God, it was so funny. Sometimes it's funny being 12 years old. Sometimes you just have to be like, hey, fart videos make me laugh, especially right now when everything feels so miserable. You got to find levity wherever you can, even if you have to levity's nuts. And with that little nugget of wisdom, with that little dingleberry, I think I'm going to call it, and we are going to raid A1 Joshua middle name Koval. Still loading pod. Did I spell that right? Can I see? I think so. Sure did. All right, friends. I love you all. Thank you for hanging and chatting with us here on a Talk Tuesday on the Sexperience point, as I'm now going to forever call it, much to my own dismay. Thanks, Parallax. Thanks, Gilmer. Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, you. Thanks, me. Thanks, us all. Have a good night. Love you guys. Take care. What is my command? Well, I always say the same one. Go to therapy. And play Jet Set Radio Future or Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. Good night.